velociraptors stalk their unsuspecting prey, humans. Mutant half-men, half-dinosaurs are the hideous victims of a scientific experiment gone terribly wrong.
What's going on, guys? Hope you're all doing well. Now for today's video, I wanted to talk about one of the biggest unanswered questions in the Jurassic Park franchise that used to get a lot of people talking back in the day. So when Jurassic World was announced and we learned that the new movie would have a hybrid theropod dinosaur as its primary focus, the inclusion of opposable thumbs started to get a lot of interest from fans on the internet. And even after Jurassic World came out, the success and interest surrounding the brand at the time led to people thinking that this extremely unlikely attribute for a dinosaur was going to be explained away, but to this day, we don't really have any sort of official explanation. That being said, now that the trilogy is over, I wanted to dive into that mystery again and explore why this dinosaur in particular had this very alien attribute. So let's take some time to go back to 2015 when this movie was all over the place. That summer was jam-packed with all kinds of support for Jurassic World. It truly did dominate the conversation surrounding the box office at the time, and everyone and their mother wanted to know where the story would go next. I remember people went crazy for that movie. We used to talk about it at work, talk about it at home. My dad hated Lost World up until Jurassic World came out, and he was like, wow, the second one's cool. I'm like, yeah, I've only been trying to tell you for years. But the movie ended with Vic Hoskins giving a cryptic hint that the Indominus Rex was really a trial run for something even more tactile, setting up the Indoraptor that we would later see in Fallen Kingdom.
That one? Fraction of the size? Deadly?
Now, when it comes to this scene in particular, a ton of people at the time were looking towards the tanks in the background of Dr. Wu's lab and speculating on whether or not human DNA was integrated into the Indominus Rex genome. It was a pretty popular theory. After all, this is a Jurassic Park movie we're talking about here, and for a whole decade, rumors of half-dinosaur human hybrids were circulating on the internet for everyone to have fun with.
We wanted to show the terror and the horror of some of these half-dino, half-human creatures that Dr. Burton created in his genetics labs. So we got a prop from the movie Lost World, which we had in our warehouses here at Universal Studios, and we made it look as though it was ripped right out of the animal, as though it got torn right out, spinal cord and all.
The opposable thumb attribute was seen by many as a way to sneak in the idea of a dinosaur that would have a little bit of that DNA locked inside of its makeup. But as we all learned when the trilogy went on longer, this wasn't really the case. But if we go back in time, was it originally supposed to be this way? Well, if you remember the next movie, Fallen Kingdom, that film in particular started to utilize and entertain the idea of human cloning flat out, with Maisie Lockwood revealed as having been a replicant of Benjamin Lockwood's deceased daughter, a creation so ethically taboo that even John Hammond himself severed ties with the business partner and went on ahead with Jurassic Park on his own. Now, unfortunately, Dominion kind of retconned all of this for a very confusing explanation that, I'll be honest with you guys, I still don't really understand what's going on there myself, particularly as to what it was that drove a wedge between Hammond and Lockwood in the first place, if none of that information was true. But as far as the movie's trajectories go, Jurassic Park 4 originally had human, dinosaur, and even dog DNA spliced in its raptor hybrids. They scrapped all that, and Jurassic World, the movie that did come out, eventually introduced a hybrid dinosaur with opposable thumbs, and then in Fallen Kingdom, a prototype for the animal Vic Hoskins brought up at the end of Jurassic World also came complete with the thumbs. This was also the movie that confirmed that humans were not off the agenda as far as genetic tampering goes. So yes, I can completely see how someone would guess that the whole human dinosaur cloning theory was a sound argument. But again, all of that went out the door with Dominion, which leaves both of these hybrid dinosaurs in a somewhat interesting space in my opinion. If human DNA was never used in the creation of the Indominus Rex or Indoraptor, then where did they get this? One of the more popular theories at the time was that chimpanzee DNA, or maybe another primate, could have been used to help give this dinosaur the extra scare factor with thumbs like what you'd see in a Godzilla movie. Then again, the claws kind of, and I mean this one is sort of a stretch, but they kind of look like they could be reptilian to some degree, maybe even through something like the iguana variant Godzilla that we saw in the 1998 film. I mean, they do look a little similar. Either way, an answer was never truly given on screen, and this led to the dinosaur becoming something of an outlier compared to the other creatures in the series. Like, no joke, when you've got an animal actually picking people up and slamming them down, you've got yourself a pretty gnarly monster, and it felt very 90s science fiction in that regard. Personally, I'm of the opinion the dinosaur had thumbs in a sort of way to test the waters to where they could go in the future with newer movies. If you remember the fake name for Maisie in Fallen Kingdom that we all got info about before it came out, they were calling her Lucy, which seemed to be an indication of an evolutionary subject from modern science that gets talked about a lot, if you know what I'm bringing up. But when Fallen Kingdom was received so much more poorly in comparison to the first Jurassic World, I think they really panicked and decided that it was time to throw out a lot of ideas that they had in stock and instead go in a new, brighter, fluffier direction. Which is why I think the Locust kind of takes center stage and Maisie's story is retconned in a pretty obvious manner. I do think it would have been cool and even interesting if they revealed that the Indominus and Indoraptor had chimpanzee DNA in their genetic makeup, because it crosses an ethical line of monster versus animal territory that would really make for a cool Jurassic Park backdrop. In fact, since the original movie was about frog DNA being spliced with the dinosaurs, I even think it would make good sense. I mean, you really think about it, if they're trying to make something really, really smart and the Indominus is part chimpanzee, that's creepy. It's creepy on a very strange level, because then you're dealing with something that's not completely dinosaur at all. I mean, I know it was never supposed to be like that with the frog DNA integrated in Jurassic Park, but that was only one slight thing. If this thing has some chimpanzee DNA in it, strange, man. Very, very interesting. But look, guys, possibly the real answer to this question was staring us all in the face in the first Jurassic World itself. Remember that little scene with the chameleon in Dr. Wu's lab? I mean, yeah, maybe that's it. Now, before I go, I'd like to thank all of my game wardens and engine executives, as well as all of my park workers and engine hunters as well. You've all helped my channel immensely, and I'm incredibly grateful for all of that support. Now, I'd like to thank you all for watching today's video and hope that you enjoyed the content. If you feel like I deserve it, I'd appreciate the like and hope that you all consider subscribing. I'll see you all in the next video, guys, and as always, take it easy.